Hey, what is up everybody, Blades for here, and today for you guys another video of Persona 5X. Inside today's video guys, we're going to be talking about the release date of when this game possibly come out to global, and that's mainly because I've been getting a lot of questions from a lot of you new guys who's been kind of finding the channel and been supporting ever since. So this has been a question that's been going around for a very long time, and I haven't done a video on this for a hot minute. So of course we're going to redo the video, and I'm going to tell you exactly when I think this actual game is going to be coming out from the global side. So if you guys are interested in that, be sure of course to sit back, relax, video. As always, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out in the long run. And if you want to be updated on anything P5X related, whether it's global, TW, CN, any of those servers, be sure to jump down below into the description where we have our Discord, in which I will be keeping you guys updated on that, trying to make sure that is active as possible. But let's get straight into the video. So I've had a lot of questions recently, whether it's been when are we getting this game, when are we going to be seeing this exactly, will it be coming out this month? And these questions have been always something that has been happening throughout the year. This isn't anything new, this isn't crazy. It's always been a question that many of us do know, of course, if we want to play it on the side, when is this game going to drop? Now this game particularly has had multiple different times of like when we want to see it drop, when we expect to hear something about global. There's been multiple times, or whether it's been like at least what is it called, Tokyo Game Show, whether it's been at least the Game Awards. We've had multiple times where we thought we were going to hear something at least about global here, but unfortunately only one of them said something about the game, which was Tokyo Game Show. Pretty much what TGS did was they announced the actual JP beta, and as we all do know, JP is finally getting their whole, I want to say their pre-register right now, meaning the game will be coming out very soon for the JP players. Now what does this mean for the global players? What does this mean for us? This pretty much just means that it ain't going to be releasing at the exact same time, right? If they do decide to release JP within the month, or at least next month, most likely we won't see global for a little bit, at least a month or so, if they're deciding to keep them separate. Now my reasoning for them keeping them separate is really no reasoning to it. I don't think so, unless they're missing like a couple voice actors or missing things like that. I don't really see a reason why they would be missing anything, but of course it does happen. There are different times of different situations where the companies will decide to, of course, later. That's all fine. But as for my thought process of when this game is actually going to be releasing for the global spectrum, that is actually going to be happening most likely in April. Now I'm going to at least give you guys some information of why I do think this game is releasing in April global. And this is nothing finite, okay? Don't take this and run with it. Don't say, okay, he said it's going to be happening in April, therefore that's true. Do not take that. Please don't take that, because then you're going to get yourself let down if it doesn't release in April. So let me explain my reasoning when it does come down to at least releasing this game in April. The reason that I think this is going to happen is quite literally thanks to most gacha games. They usually either release at the same time with all their versions, or they usually have a little bit of a time period. Sometimes these time periods are either very small, which we've already known. It's not going to be a small time period between at least like a month or two, right? We know that. Already seen that it's not going to be that short. So obviously it's sometimes a small time period, medium time period, or a long time period. Longer time periods, I say more than 2 years, right? This one is like more of a medium time period, which is more of the standard for a lot of gacha games, and that would be a year, right? The reason I'm saying in a year, because then it takes them some time to establish things. It takes them some time to actually weed out everything that they weed out and make sure the game is good. Now we've had multiple betas, we've had multiple times that people have been checking this out. The game has gotten way better when it comes down to fixing a lot of the mess ups, a lot of the kind of sloppy-ish moments where like story glitches, things like that. All of that stuff they've slowly been fixing. So with this being in mind, and we have JP, and they had their beta test and everything looks really smooth there, we can only imply that this game is going to be going on the year like type deal of keeping a year spacing, and that would be pretty straightforward with this. So we can check out different gacha games where there's been like JJK, there's been like a few other gachas that have ended up playing as well, where they usually like to wait that year, because that year gets them to at least a chance to assess the data that they've gotten, get those things that they need, establish a database, establish a website, which luckily for us, we do know there is a website address for EN out there. Question is, we don't know exactly when that website address is going to be put into action, when it's going to be utilized. This is most likely going to be in April. April is the actual anniversary of this game for both CN, TW, KR. So it makes sense that they would end up dropping this in April. That whole point of at least happening with this yearly effect would definitely make sense. Yeah, sure, it's going to be a couple months behind JP, which is going to kind of suck because that puts more work on me as well, because we got to kind of sit there and sift through some stuff, making sure everyone knows exactly what they're doing, whether it's either on JP, TW, KR, CN. I got to kind of have my stuff together for that. But it does make it so at least there's different servers, people are separated, you can kind of see what's coming. If they decide to do something different on JP, then we know it could be possibly different for global. Is this a bad thing? I don't think it's going to be a bad thing that they're going to be spacing it out. It is kind of saddening that JP and global aren't going to be on the same time schedule, because now we have different time schedules for a lot of the versions. For example, CN is a 1 week ahead of KR and TW, right? Well, then now KR and TW are going to be months ahead of JP. And if they decide to, of course, stall on at least releasing global till April, well, let's say they release JP in next month, right? Well, then you have, of course, February, March, April. You have 2 months in between, which is a little bit of a problem, because at that point in time, there's multiple time periods and things are going to have to come out either quicker if they decide to try to keep up with each other, or either it's going to come out at a slow pace like it should be, but at that point in time there's just multiple time periods. I feel like for a lot of folks, they don't understand exactly how the gacha game like timings does work here. I genuinely do think if we don't get this game early, of course, we're going to be getting it in April. That's the finite time that I think is going to be happening, and it's mainly just because the anniversary. You got to think there's a lot of hype during that time. There's going to be a ton of hype on TW, there's going to be a ton of hype on KR. Like, all of this stuff is going to be hyped up to the max, where everyone's going to want to play. Most likely it's going to be the start of like a huge collab, whether it's the end of P5R or it's the beginning of 3R, because we do know the next collab that's after P5R, of course, is going to be 3R. At that moment in time, you have to take at least everything in accordance, right? Either they're going to be releasing a really huge OC at that moment, or the reason why I'm saying or is because they could very well just decide, nah, we're gonna go ahead and just release 3R right then. It's gonna cause some huge wakes. What exactly would this do for us? Would this bring more sales? Would this make it so a lot more people are interested in looking at our game? And it's gonna be a lot of stuff like that that's really gonna make people want to play that game, right? It's gonna make people really want to actually kind of check it out, see what's going on. Walkthroughs are going to be exploding, everything like that's exploding, because not many people really know about the game. So of course, if you have something that can draw people to that said game like this, guess what's going to happen? A huge wake of folks are probably going to check at least check it out. But that's primarily my look on it. Of course, a couple of you guys think it might be later on, which I don't blame you. If it is going to be later on, I find that to be a little bit saddening, because if being dead honest, I don't think that should be a good thing for them to do. Calling out at least how long this game is going to be, it's not going to be a good thing. It's not going to help out this game. It's going to severely hurt it if they do decide to do something like that. But that's primarily my look on it. Of course, you guys can take this whole thing as a grain of salt. Of course, at the end of the day, we genuinely don't know when the game is coming out. I'm just putting my thought process out there, putting out how usually most games go, and with the yearly process that I've seen multiple gacha games do, I would think this one's going to try to follow suit. So of course, you guys can let me know down below in the comment section what you think about this. Do you think it's going to release earlier? Do you think it's later? Do you think it's not coming to global at all, even though we know it's going to be coming to global? Just let me know down below. A lot of you guys have a lot of mixed opinions. But the next time, everybody, peace out.